You have set very high standards, and perhaps that is why love has sometimes felt so difficult for you. You are not looking for something ordinary, something temporary, or something that simply fills the silence between two lonely moments. Somewhere inside you, you have developed a deep understanding that love should mean more than attraction, more than beautiful words, more than late-night conversations, more than chemistry that disappears when life becomes difficult. You want something that feels safe, meaningful, honest, consistent, and emotionally alive. And sometimes, when you have standards like these, people may tell you that you are asking for too much. They may say that nobody is perfect, that you should compromise, that you should stop expecting so much, or that love is supposed to be difficult. But there is an important psychological distinction we need to understand. Having high standards is not the same thing as having unrealistic expectations. High standards can protect your emotional well-being, while unrealistic expectations can prevent genuine intimacy. The real question is not whether your standards are high, the real question is whether those standards are rooted in wisdom or fear. If your standard is that someone must never make a mistake, never disappoint you, never misunderstand you, never have an emotional struggle, and always know exactly what you need without communication, then perhaps you are not asking for love, you are asking for perfection. But if your standard is that someone should respect you, communicate honestly, take responsibility for their actions, remain loyal, make an effort, care about your feelings, and choose you even when life becomes complicated, then those standards are not excessive. They are foundations. Love becomes healthier when we stop confusing perfection with compatibility. A person does not need to be flawless to be worthy of your heart. They need to be emotionally responsible enough to handle your heart with care. And perhaps this is the message you need to hear today. You do not have to lower your standards simply because someone else cannot meet them. You also do not have to close your heart because someone failed to meet them. There is a middle path, and that path is emotional maturity. Emotional maturity allows you to say, I know what I deserve, but I also understand that the person I love is human. It allows you to recognize flaws without romanticizing disrespect. It allows you to forgive mistakes without repeatedly accepting the same harmful behavior. It allows you to love deeply without abandoning yourself. This is one of the most important lessons about love because many people grow up believing that love means sacrificing everything. They learn that if you truly love someone, you should tolerate anything. But healthy love does not demand the destruction of your identity. Healthy love creates enough safety for two people to remain individuals while becoming partners. You should not have to become smaller to make someone comfortable. You should not have to silence your needs so someone will stay. You should not have to pretend that you do not care because caring makes you vulnerable. You should not have to accept inconsistency just because the moments of affection feel intense. Sometimes what feels like powerful love is actually an unpredictable emotional cycle. One day someone gives you tremendous attention, the next day they disappear, and your mind becomes obsessed with getting the warmth back. Psychologically, inconsistency can create a powerful attachment because the brain becomes focused on anticipating the next reward. This is one reason people sometimes become attached to relationships that are emotionally exhausting. They are not necessarily experiencing deeper love. They may be experiencing a cycle of uncertainty, hope, relief, and disappointment. Real love does not need to keep you emotionally starving so that one small moment of affection feels like a feast. Real love can still have mystery, excitement, passion, and longing, but underneath those emotions there should be stability. You should be able to breathe. You should be able to speak. You should be able to disagree without fearing abandonment. You should be able to say, "This hurt me," without being punished for expressing yourself. You should be able to ask for reassurance without being made to feel weak. And you should also be able to offer the same emotional safety to the person you love. Because high standards should apply in both directions. If you want honesty, you must practice honesty. If you want consistency, you must learn to be consistent. If you want emotional maturity, you must be willing to examine your own reactions. If you want someone who listens, you must learn to listen. If you want someone who understands your wounds, you must become curious about theirs. Love becomes powerful when two people stop asking only, "What can you give me?" and begin asking, "What can we create together?" This shift changes everything. It transforms love from a transaction into a relationship. You are not searching for someone who exists solely to fulfill your emotional needs. You are searching for someone with whom you can build a life where both people feel seen, respected, and valued. And perhaps your high standards came from pain. Maybe you have experienced disappointment before. Maybe you gave too much to someone who gave too little. Maybe you trusted someone who broke that trust. Maybe you stayed in situations where you constantly questioned your worth. And after enough emotional experiences, something inside you said, "Never again." So you created standards. You decided that next time, you would be more careful. You would not accept breadcrumbs. You would not chase someone who was uncertain. You would not beg for basic affection. You would not confuse potential with reality. That can be a healthy transformation. Pain can teach you boundaries. But there is another danger. Sometimes pain builds walls so high that even good people cannot reach you. This is where self-awareness becomes essential. A boundary says, "This is what I will and will not accept." A wall says, "Nobody gets close enough to hurt me." They may look similar from the outside, but emotionally they are very different. A boundary protects connection by creating safety. A wall prevents connection by creating distance. If you have high standards because you know your worth, beautiful. But if your standards are being used as a defense against vulnerability, then perhaps it is time to look inward. Because love requires some uncertainty. There is no relationship where you can guarantee that you will never be hurt. There is no human being who can promise that they will always say the perfect thing. There is no emotional connection without vulnerability. To love someone is to allow them to matter to you, and whenever someone matters, they gain the ability to affect you. That does not mean you should accept mistreatment. It means you should understand that emotional safety,